Hi everyone, I am Sara Moosa, a clinical mentor here at VIVA Therapeutic Services in New Brunswick, Canada. VIVA Therapeutic Services offer evidence-based practices and ABA services for individuals with preschool-age kids for in both languages, English and French. Um, I had the opportunity to work with FTF in one of the trainer model with two of my colleagues, led by Dr. Camilleri. So I had the privilege to get my level 6, and I'm very excited to share this journey of my client with you today in my case presentation. I would also like to thank the family for giving me the opportunity to share his success story with you all. So we'll get started. Some of my clients' characteristics are, although I'm using initials, I do have consent, but I'm going to use his initials throughout our presentation. So he's a 4 years old client, diagnosis with autism, language abilities, 2 to 3 vocal words to few short sentences. Our main therapy setting was in home. We ran the therapy for 3 hours per day for 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday is where we would had run the therapy session. We had 3 implementers. So we had Jody, Melissa, and Jasper. Jody was going for her level 4, so similarly as Melissa, and Jasper was our BI. So the way our model works in Viva is that we have a BI who is the direct implementer, and then we have a behavior consultant. In this position was Melissa Whittier, and she was going for her support implementer. And then we had Jody Dreyer, who's the clinical supervisor, and who was going for her level 4, which is lead implementer. So they would come in once a week to support Jasper, but also to run part of the trial. So that's why you'll see all these 3 names, and you'll see them in the videos as well. And then lastly, our FTF consultant was Dr. Camilleri. So before I go get started with the characteristics and some problem behavior, I would like to share a little story about my client. So I met this client in October. I was his first supervisor, and I was going to do his intake. As part of our intake at Viva, when we do the first initial interview, we usually ask this question of HRE context, because when the clinical team comes in, we want to make sure we bring things that the child will be engaged with and they keep them happy to run the assessment. So there were some things listed as things that makes him happy and are reinforcing for the client. So I did, there was like trains, cars. So we bring them everything in and we go in for assessment. As soon as we enter, he's very happily playing with all his toys. We get him happy, relaxed, and engaged. We do some indirect observations about play skills, some imitation skills, and then I go in and do my first assessment trial, and I ask him about his imitation skills. So I say, okay, bud, do this for me. He looks at me and he's like, no. So I say, we got that settled. He does have the imitation skills. A few minutes later, once he's happy, relaxed, engaged, I go in again. And there I ask him again to do a skill for me. So I say, okay, bud, do this for me. He's like, no. And I got that he has the imitation skills. The cooperation was not quite there. But until now, I haven't asked him to relinquish anything. I was just going in and just telling him to do some skills for me. But the next skill I was going to assess was some visual skills with puzzles. So I go in, I bring my puzzles, I put it on the floor, and I say, okay, bud, come here, sit down. And the moment I did that, he was like, no. And he was on the opposite side of the room. So I got, and then we got started talking with mom, and we were like, okay, talk to us about his problem behaviors. And then she did mention all these are ones that are listed here. He would frequently hit, headbutt, attempt to tackle primarily younger brother. He had an 18 months old brother that he would engage with and attempt to tackle down on the floor, biting, and then associated non-dangerous behavior that we already kind of saw in that assessment. So there was quite a few yelling, no, screaming. We didn't see much crying, but there was few of those, and making repeated requests with or without increased volume. So that's how we gathered that information from just our one visit, and we got chatting with mom that he would be a really good client to run SBT with. The next I'm going to talk about is analysis and treatment context. So his synthesized reinforcement contained of cars, trains. He really liked small figurines. You'll often see it in the videos. There's pretend play where he loved going around pretending to go in a farm, going up, down, making the dinosaur cry, scream, sleep, all those kind of things. Loved his stuffed toys, engaged very much with physical play, chase, tickles, and swing was a big hit. They had a nice little swing at home, so that was really nice. And his synthesized EO included a departure from the preferred work and interaction, and instructions to do work was where he didn't want to do that. So those are our EOs. And then we went in, of course, we did our interview with mom once we started this SBT program with him. And then from there, we gathered information about his ISCA analysis, the FA. This is our results from the ISCA. So I'll just orient you a little bit towards the graph. Probably most of you are familiar with this. So if you look at the y-axis from the bottom, it says in EO. So if you see a line there, it means instruction was presented to the client. And then if you see a diamond in the problem behavior in EO, that means the child engaged in problem behavior. Open diamond means minor problem behavior, and then the closed diamond means severe problem behavior. As you see, there were no severe problem behavior throughout our analysis. And then as we go up, if it says in SR, it means we were in the SR context. So the line goes on. Once you see that not there anymore, we are in EO. And then problem behavior in SR. So we did not see any problem behavior during our analysis in SR. And then on the top one, it says engaged as you go in across the whole analysis. Anytime we were in SR context, he was engaged. And it was very quick for him to go back to SR as soon as we put the EO and we saw that precursor problem behavior. So just looking at this graph, if you just look at the line and keep going, we kept him in SR for about 5.5 minutes. We went to EO. And there was a problem behavior. We just didn't do it once. We replicated it multiple times. As we know, replication is the key to believability. So this makes us believe that the contingencies we had for this client was correct. And now we're going to go more into branch expectation. I'm not going to go very detailed, but I'm going to give you a very overview of what kind of things we worked on. So in Branch A, we worked on primarily tabletop activities that included matching, sorting, some motor imitation without those problem behavior that we saw in our initial assessment. So we wanted him to go to the table, do up to 10 plus units of cooperation with all these different skills, without engaging in problem behavior. Our next skill we worked on was hygiene branch. So this was very important for the family. The family really struggled with diaper changes or just in general skills in the bathroom. So we did work on hand washing. Hair brushing was a big one, and hair cutting. And you'll see as we go on, he gets his hair cut. Mom starts looking for the barber shop. So that was really exciting to see as part of this process. And then we had toothbrushing as well. So these are the three things that we worked on in a hygiene branch. And then our last branch was fun branch. So this is where we bring some fun activities to do on the table, but we work on a skill that we worked on tolerating turn taking with another person. So sharing turn taking was a little bit difficult for him, not only with adults, but also with kids. So especially with his younger brother. So we worked on that first with the adult and during SBT process. So those were our three primary branches that we worked on during SBT. So this is a graph for our first branch. And I'm sorry, it's a lot here. However, I'm going to walk you through, and there's a point why I have it this way. I'm just going to orient you to the first graph briefly before I go a little bit in details with it. So if you look at the first graph on your top left panel, you see SR context. So the below all R1, R2s, R3s, and HRE, these are all things happening in SR context. So if you see any dots or anything there, it means the client was engaging in problem behavior during the SR context. And then on top panel, which it goes from towards the EO context. So you see R3, R2, R1, and then all the skills of SBT onward. So from simple FCR all the way to CAP 6. And if you see orange dots, those are R2s, red dots, R1s, closed dots, um, independent, open dots, prompted responses. When you see the color changing to gray, it means they have mastered one skill and they're going towards another skill. So they have mastered tolerance, they're moving towards CAP1, for example. Now, the arrows that indicate anytime we moved from one skill to another, things became a little bit more harder. We saw a little bit of beginning of problem behavior, but then as time passed, we saw more R2s, and then eventually they started fading away. But then again, the new skill, we saw the same thing. However, it's worth mentioning that if you see the last graph for your towards the right side, in CAP5, when we moved from CAP5 medium and long, there was not much of a problem behavior between those shaping steps. So just a little overview. Overall, we made really good gains with some problem behavior during shaping steps, but he was able to go all the way to CAP6 for branch A. For branch B, again, really good responding throughout. We were able to go all the way up to CAP5. You see very minimal problem behavior during changing of the conditions as they go on, and minimal, no R1s during this branch. And then we have our front branch where we saw very similar to branch B. So we were able to go all the way to CAP5, and there were very similar responding across the skills and few R1, R2s, but even in SR context, we saw really clean and clear SR context here. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about BHI. So what is BHI and why do we use it and how do we use it at VIVA? So in VIVA, all the kids who are on SBT, we have another way to measure the effective outcomes by using Behavioral Health Index. So Behavioral Health Index was developed by FTF with collaboration with Acorn Health. It's a rating scale that's used for looking at different skills. So we're going to go a little bit over that and how what were the results for our client. So we do that every 3 months, the beginning of the quarter with all our SBT clients. So here, if you look at this is a rating scale that goes all the way from 1 to 4, 1 being the skill is not there yet or very early stages of the skill. And then as you move on, you have more skills developed. It's an interview that we ask caregivers or people who know the client really well, and they give us all the answers that they know, and then we rate it based on this rating scale. And then on the side, we have 3 major categories of things that we look at. Number 1, we look at critical skills. So for example, how's the child's play skills? Do they engage in stereotypic behavior? Do they have requesting skills? How much? Specific requests, some more just generic requests. How are they tolerating denial or delays in their life? And contextually appropriate behavior. Some of this, we get this information from our SBT. So for example, if a client is on CAP5, they might fall around a 3 or 4, versus if a client is just starting to learn about the relinquish his toys. So this is how we rate it, and we get that information from caregivers. That's critical skills. Then we have behavior management. So we have behavior medication. Are they taking any medication? Modifications that are happening. How's the reinforcement schedule in your daily life? Do you always have to do if and then for your child? Some behavior modification. How much you're modifying your environment so the behavior doesn't happen. There's some questions about restraints, injury to selves, locations. Are they always grouped, not grouped? Sometimes grouped. All that information we gather from this portion of the assessment. And then the last one is where we talk about health repertoires. So sleeping, eating, exercising. How's that going with you? And as we know, if the child is not sleeping well or eating well, they need all those to function really well, right? So we want to make sure that we're gathering all that information. Another thing about BHI that I like is that it also generates information for you. So if you want to work on specific branches for family or some additional branches that they're struggling with that we might not see in our setting, and how we can best support the families in that context. So once we gathered that information for my client, we did it initially before we begin this treatment, and then 4 months after we did the treatment. And these were the results. So I'm just going to orient you a little bit towards the graph. Your y-axis will show you the scores, and then your x-axis are the skill areas that we just talked about. So the critical skill, the behavior management, and the health repertoire. But then also we have an overall score. And so what we are looking at here is your gray bar shows the total potential score that a child can get. So for example, in critical skill, the highest score the child can get is 24. And then for behavior management is 24. And then for health repertoire is 9 is the highest score the child can get. And then overall score the child gets is 60. So the goal for BHI is to see, is our intervention effective to produce some effective outcomes by measuring through BHI and all these skills. So if you look at critical skill, we have the gray bar that represents the total score of 24. Then we had the critical skills, which was around 13 in the baseline assessment. And then it went all the way up to 18 after assessment. So overall, there has been an increase from just 3 months of intervention. So the first one was done in December 2023, very late in December, and then we had one in April done. And overall, his score went from around 34 to 47. So that was a big way to look at this achievements that we have done with this client. And the last thing we wanted to talk about is the weekly wins. This is my favorite part. So every single week we have this little wins. There were plenty for this client, which is very exciting. But I have only few here listed, because if I go on, it will take a lot of hours. So I want to make sure that we hit the most important ones. So for one, he started vocally saying my way without touching the card at times, which was really good. We want to make sure that their skills are with them wherever they go. So him generalizing from touching the card to saying my way, although he was a vocal with few sentences, it was not very reliable in the beginning. So that was a big win. The next big win we had was he started expressing his when he was hungry and he needed a snack, and also some emotions. And he really quickly showed his workers that wherever he needed break, he would just go sit on a couch and be like, okay, I just need a second and I'll re-engage with you guys. And he will just come right up a few minutes later. There's a really nice story that one of his lead implementers shared with me, and I really, really like that. It just shows how much our work affects our clients too, and how much, if we're compassionate with them and empathetic with them, they learn from all those stuff. So as you all know, when R2 happens, we provide empathetic statement, and then we show them the model, the correct response. And so what happened is they were playing a game in SR context, where they were playing a scary game where he would go on and scare the lead implementer and be like, "Boo!" And she was like, "Oh no, I'm very scared." And they loved that game because he loves pretend play. Remember? So now one time he goes in and she's like, "Oh no, don't do that. I'm very scared." And he goes to her, touches her face, and be like, "It's okay, don't be scared, it's only me." So just really nice generalization of skills from what he sees us doing with him, and he does the same thing. So that was really, really nice skill for me to learn about. And then increased auditing independence with mom. There has been a lot of times where mom was struggling a lot, to the extent our actual branch for branch C, which was for branch B for hygiene skills, was toileting. However, as he started doing SPT, he gained so much cooperation that he started doing that with mom. Diaper changes were better. Mom started even toilet training him. So we had to really change our plans and work on other skills that mom was struggling with, because it was going so well in the middle of our programming. Got his haircut. That was a big thing for mom, because initially mom didn't have any opportunity to even take him to the barber shop because he wouldn't tolerate being his hair brushed or even somebody coming close to his hair. So getting his hair cut, mom looking for barber and appointments was really exciting. And then one of our branches were turn taking. We actually saw that generalizing in his everyday life. So one day we were sitting in an SR context, brother was there, and they were both eating together at the table, taking turns. And there was one time he was like, "Here you go," to his brother and taking turn and sharing. That was really nice for the family as well. Going on walks. So that was something that mom really struggled with. Was getting better. Playing with his cousins. So he was not always around kids. But then after this programming and mom saw how good he was doing with his brother, he was more likely to play with his cousins. Cooperating more at home, particularly around sitting at the table. So one time we went in and mom was like, I asked him to go to the table and he actually did. So that was very exciting. Just mom noticing those gains that he's been doing in SBT, even before we go to generalization, them generalizing was great to hear. And also him doing it across 3 different implementers is a great generalization skills. So this is always my favorite part. Like SBT is great and all the results that come that we teach SBT, but there are skills that we don't teach directly and they come out and those are really always exciting for me to learn about. So those are all most of the weekly wins or major wins that we saw across our SBT treatment. And then here is the video for him for his journey. So in this video, you'll see his SK analysis, and then that will go right into his treatment. Each treatment is labeled, so you get to see each one of them. You will also see some transitions to the bathroom, some to the table. You will also see our staff modeling the contingency for him in the beginning, and then him actually doing the skill and very proud of himself. So those are some nice things that you'll see in the video.
He's going. Oh no, watch out, Mr. Jolly. Ah! Oh my goodness. There's Isaac. That is Isaac. Good job. Okay, time to work. Put the dog down. Here, let me help you. We'll put him down. And let's go to the table. Oh. Okay, let's sit.
Beautiful.
Okay, okay, go play.
Beautiful, Melissa. Really nice.
Okay, Jody, all done playing.
Keep playing.
Sure, you can keep playing. Okay, ready? All done playing. Sure, you can have your way. Good job.
No.
Didn't know we were tidying it. I'll take all done playing. Not right now. Some job, here you go. Excellent. Not right now. Bucket. Come with me. Ready to go to the bathroom. Oh, that's right. Awesome job. Okay, Isaac, all done playing. Not right now. You do the same as Jasper. My head. Stand up. Turn around. And jump. Yeah. Okay, Isaac, all done playing. Not right now. Okay, let's put it in the bucket. Good, let's go to our table. Here's your chair, that was silly. We're gonna play a game. Ready? I'm going to flip 2. Oh, not the same. Isaac flipped 2. 1, 2, not the same. Okay, Melissa's turn. Ready? Melissa flipped 2. Oh, not the same. Okay, let's go back to playing your way.
Okay, Isaac, all done playing. Not right now. Okay, stand on the stool. Time to brush hair. 1, 2. 1, 2. Great job, and a little bit of water. There. Okay, let's go have your way. Let's find our mushies.
Let's turn around.
Oh, nice idea.
There. Wait, Bob. Wait, Bob.
You keep making me have you silly goose.
Oh,
I can spin, sure. Woo! I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you. One of the things that I've enjoyed about the SPT process is how we have been able to teach our client to cooperate and learn new skills while still empowering them and maintaining the rapport that we had previously built. Watching him make the connection between the My Way and the power that that yielded was really exciting to see. We even had him begin to use it outside of trials to let us know that he needed a break. One time he became upset during his SR context and he went to his room, closed the door, yelled, "My way," and we said, "Sure, bud, you can have your way." And we gave him a couple minutes break. He came back out and session ran as usual. He was ready to play and engage with us. One of the things that I have learned during this process is to be very flexible and be ready to change your plan at any time. We spent a lot of time revamping our hygiene branch because as he began to cooperate with us, he also began to cooperate more with Mom. So when we met him, diaper changes were very difficult for Mom. She had a hard time with those. But at this point of the game, he is actually cooperating and is in underwear all day and using the potty. Toilet training was part of our original hygiene branch, but we had to revamp that and look at other skills that Mom needed us to work on. And in the end, we were able to work on goals that are going to not only benefit him, but decrease the family stress as he is now brushing his teeth. He is tolerating his hair being brushed. So Mom was actually checking out barbers so she could actually get his hair cut one of my last visits. And so being able to be flexible, change our plan, and work on things that are valuable to the family and have those conversations with Mom and just see that stress come off of her has been really exciting to see.
So I hope you enjoyed that video and his journey throughout the SPT process. It's been really a privilege, and I'm so glad Mom gave us the consent to share this amazing story with you. To end it, I would love to thank a few people here. So I would love to thank Dr. Pelletier for all the guidance, making me a better coach to lead my team, and all the valuable lessons. With Dr. Pelletier, every time we would meet, I'm like, okay, I've learned a lot. And then every time he teaches me something new. So thank you so much for that. And Isabel and Janet for being the best teammates to go through this process. Danielle, our CEO, thank you for your endless opportunities that you have provided and making sure that we deliver the best evidence-based practices in the field and always staying connected with what's new and just opening your arms for us to learn all of those new skills. And to Dr. Handy for forever inspiring us to move forward and learn compassionate ways to help our clients. Finally, I would love to thank the cohort that I led through the Train the Trainer model was Jody Dreyer, Melissa Whittier, Sara, Dawn, and Molly. Thank you for making me teach you, but also learn from you, and to all the clients that we have learned from. So I always say, you never just learn. You don't always just teach. You always learn from people. So it's been a really privilege seeing this process all the way through. Thank you very much.